Hi guys, welcome to my channel. And I have been giving some glance about the topics which I have been studying. So, two topics which I have already uploaded in the YouTube. That's about the obstetrics topic, perinatal mortality, and induction of labor. So, I just thought to bring a change in the topic so that you all get more interested. So, today's topic is my most favorite subject, pediatrics. So what we are going to see in pediatrics is just a basic concept, that's iron deficiency anemia and megaloblastic anemia. Like for next 2 days I'll be just saying about anemia, okay? Like hematological disorders we'll be discussing about. So today, to start with, I'm going to start the iron deficiency anemia. So let's discuss about the iron deficiency anemia. Iron deficiency anemia occurs when there is decreasing in the total iron content in the body. It becomes severe because the functions which are related to the iron gets decreased, so it becomes severe. So what is the pathophysiology behind this? Diminished iron absorption in the proximal intestine or excessive loss of the iron in the body can result in iron deficiency. So what is anemia? So oxygen supply to the hemoglobin is low, so that is called anemia. What is iron deficiency? Iron is less, so it is called iron deficiency anemia. So iron is present, which is essential for multiple metabolisms, for oxygen transportation, electron transport, and DNA synthesis. If iron is less, so these three processes won't go at all. So everything will stop in the middle. In severe iron deficiency anemia, it contains enzymes which are very low and affects the immune and tissue functions also. This iron deficiency anemia can also result in diminished growth, learning, and have very serious consequences in the children's. So dietary consequences which contains iron are like spinach, carrot, all green leafy vegetables contain irons. So the healthy newborns infants have total iron of 25 milligram. That decreases to 60 ppm in first 6 months of life. Then the body iron is regulated carefully by the absorptive cells, and these are getting absorbed in the proximal small intestine. So if the absorption gets decreased, so it causes iron deficiency. So we get iron deficiency anemia. The absorption infants who consume cow milk have iron deficiency anemia because milk has high concentration of calcium, which competes with the iron. So in gastrointestinal system, what happens is iron absorption gets decreased, so calcium absorption gets increased. So children who drink cow milk may have this iron deficiency anemia. And there are many problems such as intercurrent infections and investigations compound this problem. Okay. So the next is the clinical evaluation about iron deficiency anemia. So the clinical evaluation are dietary history is very important. The intake of the milk or weaving foods or any supplements, whatever the child is taking, we have to ask for that. Pica increases the risk of investigations and lead poisoning. The common features which are present in anemia, behavioral symptoms such as irritability, weakness, fatigue, leg cramps, breathlessness, anorexia, tachycardia, congestive cardiac failure, persistent and untreated iron deficiency may cause like splenomegaly, organs get damaged, absorption gets decreased, angular stomatitis, glossitis, choleonchia, and these are the symptoms which are present in very severe iron deficiency anemia. So the next is the laboratory diagnosis. So we are going to do peripheral smear, which shows the red cells which have microcytic, hypochromic, and poikilocytosis, and increase in the cell, red cell distribution is taking place. Here MCV and MCHC is present, which is getting reduced because of iron deficiency anemia. So the peripheral smear is present in a child of iron deficiency anemia, shows microcytosis, that is smaller size of red cells are present, okay, and which are smaller than the lymphocytes. Then hypochromia, the central pallor is present, which is greater than 1/3 of the cell diameter. And then thrombocytosis is present and few ovulocytes and teardrop cells. Teardrop cells is the main feature for iron deficiency anemia. Moderate poikilocytosis is also present. Okay, so these are the features which are seen in laboratory diagnosis of peripheral smear. Then the serum iron is present, which is reduced because iron deficiency. The serum iron will get reduced. Total iron binding capacity is present, which is increased. transferrin, which is like in the process of iron formation, that gets decreased, and reduction in the serum ferritin is also present. Total iron body storage is also decreased. Elevated in the inflammatory conditions takes place, and high free erythropoietin is also seen before anemia develops. So FEP is present, which is getting increased before we get this iron deficiency anemia. So that is the main, like, by this laboratory diagnosis you can find that this iron deficiency anemia. So next we would go on for the treatment. So what is the treatment for this? So we have to identify and then correct it. Like any investigations, we have to see hookworm investigations or any infections are present, we have to see. And then dietary treatment, we have to give them, like we have to say them to eat iron rich food like jaggery, dates, spinach, or any green leafy vegetables or anything like that, we have to say them to eat. And close up is required to assess for close follow-up is present, which is required to assess for adequate response for the correction of the iron deficiency anemia. And we have to say them to use H2 blockers or proton pump inhibitors to cause achylohydria. So after even giving this treatment, there might be no response for the hematic therapy. So what are the reasons behind that? Even though we are giving treatment, there is no response. So there might be some reasons, right? So that might be due to poor compliance with therapy, absorption is very less, uses of H2 and proton blockers they are using that because of that the iron is not getting absorbed. Interaction between the food and medications are not proper, or underlying any hemolytic anemia, any inflammations, malabsorption, or any infections, or any alternative etiology might be present. So that is the reason the therapy is not working for the patients. So there might also be some gastrointestinal side effects such as nausea, epigastric discomfort, vomiting, constipation, diarrhea, everything might be present. So we have to give most cost effective oral preparation is ferrous sulfate. So what we should give is orally we have to give ferrous sulfate. The dose of treatment for this anemia is 3 to 6 mg per kg per day elemental iron. The reticulocyte count also increases within 72 to 96 hours after the initiation of this iron deficiency therapy. So the indications of parenteral iron therapy are limited to some conditions such as intolerance to oral iron, ongoing blood loss, malabsorptions, any infections, investigations, or anything like that. These are the indications for parenteral iron therapy to be limited. So we have to calculate the parenteral iron. So dosage calculation for parenteral iron is total dose, which is in milligrams, is equal to total hemoglobin. What is the target total hemoglobin minus actual hemoglobin, how much it is present, into weight in kgs into 2.4 plus 15 into weight in kg. This you can see is page number 334 in OP guide. So it is present in that, like the calculation of parenteral iron, which is very much important for iron deficiency anemia. So this iron deficiency anemia is present, which can be corrected by blood transfusion, medications, or to avoid, we have to say them to avoid some infections to come, or like that. By some medications we can avoid and prevent this iron deficiency anemia. If it is very severe iron deficiency anemia with congestive cardiac failure, transfusion must be given very slowly, 2 to 3 mg per kg with monitoring, and diuretic therapy is present, which is very necessary for severe anemia with congestive cardiac failure. So this is all about iron deficiency anemia. We defined iron deficiency anemia. We have seen the clinical manifestations, pathophysiology, laboratory diagnosis, treatment, and parenteral iron indications and dosage calculation. So next topic which we are going to go is about megaloblastic anemia. So megaloblastic anemia is a distinct type of anemia which is characterized by macrocytic red cells and erythroid precursor, which is showing nuclear dysmaturity. This is the most common cause of deficiency of vitamin B12, that is cobalamin, and folic acid. So the pathophysiology behind the megaloblastic anemia is it affects all the hemopoietic cell lines with resultant of anemia, thrombocytopenia, leukopenia, and DNA synthesis is present, which is getting impaired due to the lack of methyl tetrahydrofolate. So vitamin B12 is present, which plays a main role as a cofactor in many of the reactions. So DNA synthesis process gets stopped because of this megaloblastic anemia. So the etiology behind this megaloblastic anemia is there are many drugs which may cause this megaloblastic anemia due to phenytoin, proton pump inhibitors, methotrexate, trimethoprim, metformin, hydroxyurea, 5-fluorouracil, or azathioprine. These are like some of the drugs which may cause megaloblastic anemia. There are some of the etiologies are also present which may cause megaloblastic anemia. Folate deficiency is present, which is caused by decreasing in the ingestion and impaired absorption and impaired utilization. So these are the three main important factors which may cause folate deficiency. So vitamin B12 deficiency is caused by decreasing in the ingestion, impaired digestion, impaired absorption, or any intestinal parasites infection, so which causes vitamin B12 deficiency. So megaloblastic is due to vitamin B12 deficiency or folate deficiency. So we should know what are the causes for that. So we have already seen that now. This is one of the main nutritional deficiency anemia which is present here. So now we are just going to see the clinical evaluation. So the patient may be as usual fatigue, vomiting may be present. The patient is examined for signs and symptoms. Thrombocytopenia, neutropenia is present. Features which are seen in megaloblastic anemia especially are glossitis, hyperpigmentation, stomatitis, any skin infections, skin on knuckles, terminal phalanx, enlarged liver, spleen, and neurological symptoms are also present. Petechia, hemorrhagia, and pancytopenia, hepatosplenomegaly, weight loss, abdominal distension, steatorrhea, abdominal scars are also present. These are the main manifestations which are seen in megaloblastic anemia. Memory loss may be present, any confusions, or they are totally loss of many neurological signs. So then the next subheading which we are going to see is for laboratory evaluation. So here we will do red cell indices which shows macrocytosis, that is it is very large. Mega means it's very large, so it will be the peripheral smear is present which shows macrocytosis, and cytopenias are also present. Hypersegmented neutrophils are present which shows nucleus with more than 6 lobes, and reticulocyte count is present which is also performed here. And in peripheral smear we are able to see hypersegmented and polymorphonuclear cells which are microcytosis, which is very larger in size. Megaloblasts are present which are very larger in size, hypersegmented, and neutrophil count is present which is also getting increased. The serum chemistry is present which reveals elevated in lactic dehydrogenase and bilirubin. These are the two things which get increased in serum chemistry evaluation. So the next we would come about the treatment. So treatment for this is therapeutic dose of folate is present which is given, and vitamin B12. Folate we have to give 1 to 5 milligram per day, and vitamin B12 we have to give 1000 mg per day. It is administered for the patient with megaloblastic anemia. Folate iron deficiency due to dietary infusion, decrease in the absorption, or increase in the demand to the treated with folate supplements. So these are present which are treated with any of the folate supplements. Anti-folate medications are present which are given. Folate is present which is available at 5 milligram of tablet, and overdose is present which can cause many of the adverse effects which we have already seen in clinical evaluation. Next, vitamin B12 is present which must be given as parenteral. It is given at the dose of 1000 mg, that is 1 milligram. Intramuscularly it is given. For infants it is given as a low dose as 250 mg. And reticulocytosis is present which higher platelet count and higher neutrophil count is present which is seen in this therapy. As I already said, vitamin B12 is present which has to be given, that is 1 milligram IM daily for 2 weeks it has to be given. This is the therapy which includes for megaloblastic anemia. Patients with neurological complications should receive 1000 mg IM every day for 2 weeks, then every 2 weeks for 6 months, and monthly for a life. Like total life they have to receive it with neurological symptoms. Oral supplementations can also be administered, and dietary counseling is present, which must be it's very important for the patient with anemia to take dietary supplements, like very good rich dietary supplements should be taken. Oral daily and parenteral dose is, it must be for 3 to 12 months. These are the two topics which we have discussed today, that is iron deficiency and megaloblastic anemia. If you have any doubts, you can just ask me in the comment box, and I've just given a very little glance about this. Okay, hope this is a very good reference for your exams, like just before you go for your exams, this is a very good reference, I guess. And the book which I use is Guide for Pediatrics, and this is present in hematological disorders lesson. You can just recheck it. If you have any doubts, you just comment me. We'll meet tomorrow with another good topic from pediatrics. Thank you for today.